Well, hello. This is my third interview, and I am interviewing my cousin. Yes, cousin.
Your cousin.
My cousin, and she's living in Vegas since
1999.
1999. So she has lived 20 years in the U.S. So that she's my third interview, and well, it's Ximena. So thank you for accepting the interview. And well, I will start saying uh, that the objective of the interview is like to know your perception of the coronavirus in your country in Las Vegas. How was the coronavirus in the starts of the pandemic? In the pandemic, so that's the reason. So may I?
Okay.
Well, first, how was your perspective when the coronavirus started in March in the
I think back in March, um, the government didn't think it was something that serious, and they didn't um, took enough precaution to contain the virus within the country at all. Um, for Vegas, casinos started to close very late. We still have people coming in for, what was it, March. So they knew this since December, and they started to close down until April. So it's kind of like really 4 months to start closing off everything. So that's, I think they did um, waited a little bit too long, and you know I guess they should have done that sooner. And for my understanding is that they didn't close everything at all, not everything. They closed some things. Like, for example, I was told that some flights from other countries were still coming in with visitors, not only residents and U.S. citizens, with visitors as well. So how are you going to contain the virus if you have your um, ay, ¿cómo se dicen fronteras?
frontiers?
Your frontiers open,
Yes.
So that's what I think. We should have started sooner.
Okay. How do you think the U.S. people think about the virus or the situation in the global issue? So how do you think they feel when they saw it and that the virus were in their own country?
I think that many people don't believe in it. They're like, oh no,
Still,
they're yeah, conspiracies and it's not true and blah 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 blah. But once it start getting closer and once you start getting people that that got sick or died, then they believe it, and then they realize that it is real. So I don't know. Some people, I guess, one of my coworkers just today told me, "Oh no, I'm not afraid of the coronavirus." I'm like, "What?" So
okay. Also, what was the impact in your personal life when the pandemic started, and
mm.
how is now your life?
Well, one of the first things is that my business, my office, I used to work in a kind of like a travel agency. It closed down because, of course, they closed all the flights. They closed all the hotels. So Vegas is a city that lives from tourism. So if you don't have that, of course, a lot of people we got well, not fired. Here it's called laid off. That you're not fired because you're bad, but it's because something like this happened. So a lot of people got laid off, and the good thing is that the government did support a lot of the unemployed people. We have, luckily, we have insurance for when you lose your job, you still get paid not your whole salary, but some of it. So that helps you a little bit. And the government gave um, a bonus on top of that. So it was kind of okay for a while. But the supplement per se, it was from April till July. So after July, the extra money that you used to get, it was gone. So of course you have to find another
Yeah.
source of income, because whatever the unemployment insurance they gave you is not enough. So,
Yes, yes,
but
but that helped, I think.
that helps. And I think we're very lucky to have that kind of insurance here in the U.S., because a lot of countries like Mexico
Yes.
that don't have that kind of insurance, what do you do when you don't have your job, you know and there's a pandemic, you can't go out and work. So I
Yes,
think in that sense we're kind of lucky to have that insurance.
yes, it's a very important factor because, as you said, in Mexico there is no insurance at all. If you are fired, you're fired, and that's it. You
Yeah.
you have to find a job, or don't, or you cannot eat. So it's like
Hmm.
very very difficult. Well,
Hmm.
now knowing that, in an economic factor, how was the difficulty of, or what happened in Vegas, in the economic factor? I think is that is the city of tourism. So then there were no economy at all, right?
There is, yeah, because they closed down the for the first time in my life. I've been here 21 years, and I used to see the lock in the doors and the gates, for example, at the Bellagio. And I was like, why do they have locks if Vegas never closes? Well, now it did. Now it did, and it looked like a desert, like a ghost town. And it's so sad to see it like that, because we're used to see it with full of people,
Yes,
crowded, and with the lights on. But the first days when this started, when they first closed down, you will go down Las Vegas Boulevard, which is the strip,
yes.
and it was empty. It was empty, just like a ghost town,
No.
and it was very sad. So yes, our economy is based on tourism. So a lot of people got either laid off, they got fired. You cannot sustain a casino without people.
Yes, it's impossible.
Mhm.
After the casinos start to reopen, or not? They are still closed.
They start reopening in June, I guess. May last days of May and the beginning of June. So, but still, the casinos are open, but we still have a pandemic. We
Yes,
still have a lot of people from other countries that cannot come to the U.S. We still have the pandemic within the U.S. And of course, a lot of our tourism is national, not that much international. So if you still have a pandemic, there's not a lot of people coming in.
mhm.
Still, they is not enough yet. So
It's terrible to hear that. So, because I know Las Vegas, and I don't imagine like alone the trip with nobody walking to the trip, also entering to the hotel. So I don't believe it at all.
right now there's a lot of security, and for example, I went to Wynn the other day, and they screen your temperature to check that you're okay. But a lot of restaurants, they limit their capacity. their seating capacity. So they're trying to work with it, but still, um, things like shows, like theaters, they cannot open because they cannot have that many people. And even when they open with a limit capacity, 100 or 200 in a big theater of
It's not.
5,000
It's
is
not.
not enough. It's
Yeah.
not enough to pay the performers and all that. So it's gonna take a while. I guess it's gonna take at least a year or maybe two
In the
to
best
go back
circumstances,
to where it was.
in the best circumstances. Uh,
Hmm.
and also, what about the buffet? Because I know that there Las Vegas has also a lot of buffets, but with the pandemic, you cannot have a buffet and all people in front of the food because they get contaminated. So
Yeah,
also the buffets.
yeah. They're closed. The one that tried to open was Win.
Uh huh.
Win tried to open their buffet, and it was not a buffet. They have um, it was an all you can eat, but the server will bring it to your table. You will have a code on the table where you can scan the code because you don't have physical menus because of course you don't want to touch anything. So they have the scan codes, so you can scan it with your phone and you will get the menu there, and you will ask the server what do you want to eat, and they will bring it, you know. So it's kind of the buffet, but I think it's more like all you can eat
Yes.
restaurant. And they tried to keep it open, but I guess they closed it a couple of weeks ago.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and
right now, that's not going to be an option.
yes, no, and the experience is not the same because you can see all the food, all the cream crab
Hmm.
legs in the table, and you do, oh my god, well, so it's
Hmm.
not the same.
It's not the same. No, it's not the same to get it yourself and, you know.
Yes. Well, also in the social thing, how was the impact in Vegas? Also, because it's also tourism is a synonym of very social media, social things as theaters, shows. So, what happened in the social thing?
Well, it's dead. Like Vegas is a lot of nightclubs and, like I say, theaters and everything. Everything is closed down. The nightclubs are starting to reopen, but yet they are. For example, again, when they said they were going to start to open again, but the day of, you will have to take a COVID test to see if you're positive or not. They will let you know, but they're charging like insane amount of money to get in. For example, $2,000 per person. So,
Okay.
and the things that they did open are the bars, which I was amazed because they are telling you, yes, you have to be 6 feet apart and blah blah blah, and they get crowded. They are crowded, even with the 6 feet apart. They are crowded. So they're they're starting to open little by little, but I guess yes, we're not still
As
at
it was.
100% the same.
Yes, I think the bars reopened because they thought that if you have alcohol in your body, in your blood, you will be
You
you
will be immune.
going to come in. so, so okay. And the last thing in the factors in the environmental one, uh, how does the pandemic and the quarantine influence in the environment in Las Vegas? I know there is a desert, but uh, I don't know in how was the the police or the control in the environment in how was it?
You know, the only, I mean, it is a desert, so we couldn't notice that many changes. Like in other places, they have the, animals
Yes, in
in
this
the wild in the street, but not here. But and we didn't. I don't feel that we did had a lockdown like other countries, like France. Like you have to have a permit to go out and things like that, even to go shop grocery shopping. Here we didn't have that. You could go as you want, but at some point the government, because when the pandemic began, some people will wear their masks, some not. So at some point the governor said that it was a required to, anywhere you go you have to wear a mask. So he did make that um, um, a law, I guess, a requirement for all establishments. Everybody has to wear a mask, and you have to be 6 feet apart in every other place. And for example, Walmart, they have huge stores,
Yes.
so even they limit the number of guests that they can have at once. So they will have somebody at the door counting the guests to see if they don't go over the limit that the government required. So things like that, that's what they did. But it was not, like I said, it was not as bad as other places. I guess we could still go freely
It's, it's, a,
everywhere.
it's a good thing. People still use the face mask in public places and in
We
jobs.
have to. We
It
have
is
to,
a
but
requirement.
it's kind of crazy because, for example, in a casino, if you're in the casino sitting on a machine, you have to wear the mask. But if you're smoking, you're allowed to take it off.
Mm.
So it's like, okay. So, and it's in the restaurant, it's the same. When you come in, you have to wear the mask.
No,
Once you sit down, you have to take it off in order to eat. So it's like you kind of wearing it, but not really. So
well, a couple of things more. I know that the elections are like in this time. I think in 3rd November are the elections, or in the second
November 3rd, yeah.
November 3rd. Uh, is there a difference because of the elections in the middle of the pandemic, or there's not like a very difference or something?
I don't think so. Just I just get the the candidate are like throwing the ball, like, oh, Trump didn't do this, didn't handle the pandemic well, and stuff like that. But other than that, I don't think. Well, another thing is that they were saying that they're doing mail voting. So because if people don't want to go to the uh, election site to vote in person, they have the option to do it by mail. So Trump was trying to
Avoid
not
that.
allow
Yes,
give
I saw
not
that the
give money
first.
to the postal office to fund whatever it was going to cost to vote by mail.
Yes, I saw the first debate where Trump, I think it was in that because he said that it was easier to make something back with the votes. You can very manipulate easier. So that was his reason because he didn't want to do that.
Hmm.
But okay, it's interesting. Well, and the last thing, I know you're
Hmm.
very busy because um, because you have a job, very jobs.
Hmm.
How do you think Mexico was or is in the pandemic situation? How do you think Mexico reacted and is reacting right now?
I think you guys were very unlucky to have a president that doesn't believe in the pandemic, and that he thinks that he's gonna be okay with his little estampita de detente
De la Virgencita.
de la Virgencita. So that's very unfortunate. And he's still resisting to the idea that he needs to establish, you know, a more efficient way to protect you guys. So
It
I,
is it's
I,
very
I,
sad situation.
I think it's very, very, very sad.
Yes, it's sad. Well, we have a lot of debt, and
Hmm.
it's
And I understand. I mean, we're going back to the same. in Mexico, you don't have the blessing of having unemployment insurance, so you cannot stay home, because if you stay home, and you don't work, you don't have money to eat.
Yes.
I understand that, but he should have done something, find a way to protect his people, and still,
Yes, it's very
I
sad.
think he could have done it better.
Yes, of course, yes. Um, he didn't want to use face masks because he thought that there was no virus. And come on, you're the president. If you didn't think it worked, it doesn't matter. You're
Yeah,
the president. You're the most
you're
important.
the leader. You're the leader of your country. You have to play by example. You have to give a good example to your people.
Totally.
So,
Well, thank you, Ximena, again for the time. I know
de
it's
nada.
busy. Muchas gracias.
Mira,
Y nada, sí, ya vi, fue que chido. Él luego platica, te agradezco el tiempo y te agradezco,
de
perdón,
nada, de nada.
ahí estar un poquito tardado. Pero te lo agradezco.
Bueno, nos vemos.
Adiós.
Cuídense. Me saludas a mi tía. Bye.
Yo le digo, adiós.
Bye.